Hello friends, welcome to Electrical Design Engineering YouTube channel. This is our lecture number 41 of our free course Etap. In this lecture, we will study about laws of induction motor dynamics. Before starting today's lecture, if you want to connect with me, you can join our Telegram channel or a WhatsApp group. The link of these groups is given in the description. Here, you can learn various electrical design softwares like Etap, Dig Silent Power Factory, PV Syst, Dialux and Autocad. In addition to these softwares, you can also get various technical things related to the electrical design. In addition to these, I am constantly posting quiz related to electrical design engineering on my community, which helps you to prepare for interviews. Now we will start today our lecture. Laws of induction motor dynamics or laws of induction motor. These laws are the laws which govern how induction motor behaves when we change load or voltage or torque. So the laws of induction motor dynamics describes the fundamental principles governing the behavior of induction motor, especially how it responds dynamically to change in voltage, load and other operating conditions. The various laws are Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction, Lenz's law, Newton's second law of rotation or rotational dynamics, Ohm's law for AC circuits, slip torque relationships, energy conservation law, dynamic equation of induction motor in state space for or equivalent. Among these seven laws, the most important laws we should know before starting the work on induction motor in Etap are the Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction, Newton's second law of rotation, and Ohm's law for AC circuits and slip torque relationships. I can explain only these laws, that is the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, Newton's second law, and slip torque characteristics. Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Faraday's law states that when the magnetic field around a conductor changes, it induces a voltage called the electromotive force EMF in the conductor. This is the induction motor diagram. This is the starter and this is the starter. You can see this is the starter and this is the rotor. Sorry, I have written here starter. It is a here rotor and this is the starter winding. This is the cross section of the induction motor. You can see here this is the starter and this is the starter winding. These are the starter windings. This in the slots, embedded in the slots, and this is the rotor and these are the rotor bars or rotor winding in the slots. So first of all, we will see what happens in the starter in relation to the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Starter winding is connected to the three-phase supply. When the AC current flows through the starter winding, it produces a rotating magnetic field due to the phase difference in the three-phase current. The speed of the rotating magnetic field is called the synchronous speed. The synchronous speed is equal to ns is equal to 120 f divided by v. So we can see with the due to the three-phase supply, the magnetic field produced in the starter winding is rotating. It is not stationary, it is rotating. They are rotating with the speed called the synchronous speed. The synchronous speed is equal to 120 f divided by p, where f is the frequency of the supply and p is the number of magnetic poles created by the starter winding. Now the rotor conductors, which are typically at rest, experience this changing magnetic field according to Faraday's law. This change induces a voltage in the rotor conductors. That means the magnetic field, the starter magnetic field is rotating, and rotor conductors or rotor bars are at stationary. There is a relative motion between the starter magnetic field and the rotor bars. Due to this change, there is a induced voltage in the rotor bars or rotor conductors. Now we will see what will happen in the rotor. The rotor conductors which are typically at rest, this changing magnetic field according to Faraday's law causes the induced voltage in the rotor conductors. Since the rotor bars are short circuited, you have studied in your BTech or MTech course the rotor conductors in the induction motor are short circuited at both the ends. So the circuit is completed. Since the rotor bars are short circuited, the rotating magnetic field of the induction starter has induced the voltage as per the Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction in the rotor bars. This induced voltage causes current to flow in them. That's the rotor current. This rotor current generates its own magnetic field. When the current flows, magnetic field is produced. We all know when the current is flowing, magnetic field is produced. So when the current flows in the rotor conductors, it will generate its own magnetic field. The direction of this magnetic field is opposite to that of the starter's magnetic field as per the Lenz law. The Lenz law states that the induced currents are such that they oppose the magnetic flux that causes it. That is why there is a direction, the rotating magnetic field has a direction opposite to that of the starter's magnetic field. The interaction between the starter's rotating magnetic field and the rotor's magnetic field resulting in the torque, which causes the rotor to start rotating. So the interaction, the relative motion between the starter's magnetic field and the rotor's magnetic field causes the production of the torque. When the torque is produced, rotor starts to rotate. The rotor continues to accelerate till it reaches a speed slightly less than the synchronous speed. Actually, what happens is the rotor tries to catch the starter's magnetic field. So it continuously follows the starter's magnetic field due to which the motor gets accelerated. But it never catches the starter's magnetic field. It reaches slightly less than the speed of the starter's magnetic field. The starter's magnetic field speed is called the synchronous speed. I know. The relative difference between the synchronous speed and the rotor speed is called the slip, and it is expressed as a percentage of synchronous speed. It is equal to S is equal to Ns minus Nr divided by Ns into 100. Now we will see Newton's second law of rotation. Newton's second law of motion. First of all, we will take it through a linear motion. The net force acting on an object is equal to the mass of the object multiplied by its acceleration. It is in relation with the linear motion. What we say that this is the object of mass m. We have applied a force F here. In relation to this, in response to this force F, a reaction force is developed due to friction. I can say here due to friction. That is called also a small f. So net force will be F minus F. That is the force applied minus the reaction force is equal to m into A. A is the acceleration and m is the mass, which is equal to m dv by dt, while v is the velocity. This is the Newton's second law in relation to linear motion. This helps you to understand easily when we go for the rotational motion. Now, Newton's second law for rotational motion. Now we will see that Newton's second law of rotational motion states that the net torque acting on a rotating object is equal to the production of its moment of inertia, that is J, and angular acceleration, that is alpha. This is the motor. It is connected with the three-phase supply. When the three-phase supply is connected with the induction motor, it develops a torque, which I already explained to you. This is called the motor torque. This motor is connected with the load. When motor rotates, load also rotates, but it develops a torque, that is the load torque, which is opposite to the motor torque. So net torque will be motor torque minus load torque is equal to the J, that is moment of inertia, into alpha. Alpha is the angular acceleration, which is equal to J d omega by dt. Omega is the angular velocity. Now, if motor torque is greater than the load torque, then net torque is positive, then motor will accelerate. If motor torque is less than the load torque, then net torque is negative, then motor will deaccelerate. Now, if the motor torque is equal to the load torque, the net torque is 0. That is alpha is 0. That means rotor rotates at a constant speed. Now I will explain this third point here. If Tm, that is the motor torque, is equal to the load torque, then net torque is 0. 0 is equal to j omega by dt. Here does not mean j omega j d omega by dt. D omega by dt is equal to 0. Here does not mean the motor will stop. It is saying the change in angular velocity is now 0. The change in angular velocity is 0 means now the motor is rotating at a constant speed, constant angular velocity. The differentiation of any constant is equal to 0. Here it does not mean, you should remember, when the motor torque and load torque is equal, the net torque is 0. That means the rotor is rotating at a constant speed. It is neither accelerating neither deaccelerating. Okay, this point is now clear. Now, torque versus speed or slip characteristic of an induction motor. This is the graph of a torque versus speed characteristic of an induction motor. I will explain it in the next lecture. With detailed discussion will be going on this, which will also relate how it is helpful in our why is it necessary to study torque speed characteristics in relation to our system. Thank you.